Hey guys, what's going on, everybody? This is Dane from NYYU. We'd like to welcome you to the Yankees Farm Report here with Carlos. How you doing today, Carlos?
I'm good. How are you, Dane?
Good. So we have been talking about one guy behind the scenes for about a month now that we just can't figure out, and it it's just been Ben Rice has been
hmm
so good in the second half,
hmm
but everything with his power and it's so new. We haven't seen it. It just has come out of nowhere. So what do you make of him?
I don't know. I don't know what he's gonna be or who I can compare him to. All I know is that right now the guy is just mashing. I don't know if he's on fire, if he discovered something new, if there's been a change to his swing or in his mechanics, but the guy has just been on fire since he got to Double A.
Yeah, he has. He's has 15 home runs. How many doubles?
He has 19 home runs. Well, on the season, he's got 19 home runs, 37 extra base hits. But while he's at Triple A, I'm sorry, at Double A, he's hitting 345, 406 on base, 1084 OPS, 28 extra base hits, 15 home runs, 45 RBIs, seven stolen bases.
Yeah, the numbers are just absolutely phenomenal. And
Mm-hmm.
if you go back and look at his career before this, he's always been an on-base percentage machine.
Mm-hmm.
Makes good swing decisions, has good plate discipline. It's almost like all of a sudden something clicked with his power and it matches the rest of his profile now.
Yeah, and that's something that had when people have asked me, I said the same thing. I was like, oh, I've known Ben Rice to be an OBP machine. If you
Right.
look at this, he started the season at Hudson Valley. At Hudson Valley, he played 15 games. He hit 341 with a 559 on base percentage.
Wow.
There, he had four extra base hits with two home runs. He was walking at an almost 27% clip, striking out at just under 15%. And then he goes on the IL for 2 months. And when he comes back, he just a completely different player. Now he's a power bat hitting in the middle of the lineup, not just a guy that's getting on base, ready to be knocked in by the players behind him. Now he's pretty much the man.
Yeah, he has been the man. And it starts to bring in what's his role going to be in the future. I know that both of us aren't real high on him behind the plate, but from what I've seen in him at first base, he hasn't looked bad.
No, he hasn't. And when people ask me, I tell them the same thing. You know what? He's a pretty good catcher. I don't know about the arm, but I think his clearest and fastest path would be first base because the Yankees are clearly lacking in that department. I mean, right now at AAA, I'm sorry, at AAA they have Chaparro who's playing first and third, but I don't think he's a long-term piece for this organization. Unfortunately, no matter how much we like him.
No.
And then at Double A they have TJ. I think he just came back from the IL. So um it's basically TJ Rumfield and Ben Rice at Hudson Valley. I can't really say that they have a long-term piece at first base there. And at Tampa, you just got some guys that they just drafted. So I'm not too sure. So for me, that's why I say the clearest and fastest path for him is if he stays at first base.
Now, the one big issue that you kind of see with Rice is the questionable ability to hit off speed stuff from left hand pitchers.
Yes.
Do you think
Um,
that?
I mean, I think that just comes from the fact that he probably just didn't face as many left-handed pitchers throughout his career, throughout the short career as he has right-handed pitcher, right? So maybe the with more experience, it'll get a little bit better. But if he's mashing the way he's mashing, I mean, I think it's something that you could live with.
Yeah, I think it is. He's just been. I got to see more before I can say he is a 100% middle of the order bat the Yankees should absolutely keep and invest in at first base. I want to see him go to the AFL, and if he does it there, I'll be a believer.
Yeah.
But
Well, for me, I would like to see him finish off the season at AAA, even if it's just for a week. I think that's all they have left, maybe 1 or 2 weeks. I think it
yeah,
ends the 24th, I want to say. But I would like for him to finish the season off at AAA, and then from there maybe go to the Arizona and just see how much more of it he can, or how much more he can do this season.
yeah, that would make a lot more sense. Um, he's also a guy that runs pretty well.
Hmm.
Um,
I think he's, I want to say he's had 11, 12 stolen bases. He's been thrown
yeah,
out twice.
he's just all around good numbers.
Hmm. I mean, he's pretty sound. Like I said, since he got to Double A, he's been a completely different player. Um, and a lot of people have automatically seen just that and say, hey, the Yankees are holding him back and things of that nature. But I keep telling them like, wait, but the guy you're seeing right now hasn't been the player that he's always been. He's a completely different player right now. He's only been doing this for what, 42 games is what he's had at Double
Yeah,
A, I think. I mean, I'm not ready to say, yeah, this is it, this is legit, or this is or that he's not just hot. And that's what I would be afraid of, right? That it's just that he's hot and it hasn't been something that he's changed in his approach.
yeah. I I talked to Rick from the PARS list about
Mm-hmm.
him, and he and I had the similar thoughts that we need to see a bigger sample size, but it's getting to the point with the sample size that you can't just say it's a heater. There's
Mm-hmm.
obviously something real here. And they have him as a top 100 bat.
Um, Parsless.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some people say that he's the best hitter in the organization. I mean, like I said, the guy is just he's just on fire right now. Um, and that's why, like I said, I would like to see him finish this season off at Scranton, and from there maybe go to the AFL and let's see how much more you can do, or if we once I get you out of this league, if it's not just that, because I think he's 24, I want to say.
Yeah, he is
I'm
older
just
for the
I'm just
league.
I'm just worried about like a kind of like an Aaron Polinsky type of issue, right? Where Polinsky just crushed at Hudson Valley, and now that he's in Somerset, he's regressing back to the mean a bit.
Yeah. And I guess that being 24 could be seen as old for double A, but there's a
No, I
lot
think
of
that
guys.
I think that's just the average. I think that's about the average age.
Okay. But I'm not really concerned that this power isn't real because it just showed up. Power is the last thing that develops
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times. So I I'm leaning towards this being real, but we just have to see more.
Yeah, I mean, whatever the case is, I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm happy for Somerset. I want to see Somerset run it back, and they're on that path.
So we talked the other day and we talked about six questions that about the system. Why don't we go
Yeah,
through that?
let me see. Hold on.
Okay. So we had some questions. How do you want to say this? How many questions are there? Six.
6.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we had six questions that we went through between you and I. And how about we share that with everybody about what we thought of what happened in the system this year?
sure. So the first question is, who is the biggest prospect bust of 23 for you?
Elijah Dunham or Spencer Jones?
I think for me it would be Dunham or Alexander Vargas because I expected him to have a bounce back season.
Mm-hmm.
And he started off really well. I believe he started off really well. He was really hot. I think he even got moved to the number 2 hole in the lineup, and then he just came back down to earth. Um, who's your biggest riser?
Chase.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be Chase for me because he
Chase
came
from
out as an eighth round pick. No one had a clue what he was, and he flew to the top of the charts.
Yeah, for me it's Chase and Augustine Ramirez because he jumped basically 3 levels this season.
That's a good one too.
Who's your favorite my guy prospect?
Jesus Rodriguez.
For me, I have a few of them. Is Jared Turner, Carlos Lagrange, Henry Lane,
Mm-hmm.
Augustine Ramirez, and probably well besides Jason, maybe Randy Vasquez.
Mm-hmm. They're all good ones.
Um, The guy you're much lower on than the consensus.
Jones.
Yes. Yep. Definitely agree with you there. Um, a guy outside the top 200 that can be a top 50 after next season.
Heiner, Tejada, Lalane, Lagrange, that whole FCL roster.
For me, I'm gonna say Lalane, Jared Serna. Um, yeah, I'll go with them for now.
Okay.
And a guy who you talked up that crashed in 23. I'll go first, so you won't have to. For me, Dunham.
You're really gonna make me say it, aren't you?
Go ahead. Go
Spencer.
ahead.
Oh, you prick.
um, but again, that's not to say that we still have high hopes for Spencer. We hope that he figures it out and he comes back much better next season.
The reason why this is funny is because when Los and I started talking last year, I couldn't shut up about Spencer Jones. Everything I said was Spencer Jones, Spencer Jones, Spencer
A little bit,
Jones.
a little bit, a little bit. And I was like,
Just a yeah, I drank the whole Kool-Aid on that one. Ooh.
oh man. Okay. So moving on to a guy who we both, well, mostly you, but I believe it as well, find that he's uh very underrated. Jesus Rodriguez.
Yeah. The kid just falls out of bed hitting 280, 290, and he's done it at every level. He
Mm-hmm.
makes contact, he hits the ball all over the field.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a bigger guy, but he's still athletic enough to play catcher, the corner infield positions, left field. I think there's a lot of value in that kind of player because if you need someone to catch, he can catch. You just put him anywhere and he's going to hit when he's in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that he's going to be some all-star player, but I think he could be a heck of a piece for our team in the future.
He's the kind of the utility player that you do need, right? A guy that you can plug in on the
Yes.
corners and a guy that's going to hit and not be pretty much automatic out. I mean, looking at his numbers this season, he's hitting 310 with a 399 on base, 849 OPS, 33 extra base hits. He's got 20 doubles, four triples, nine home runs, 62 RBIs. He's walking at a 12% clip and striking out at just about a 15% clip. Um, we've spoken about his power still developing, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
this year he's got a career high of 9 home runs. Before that, it was just four. But the 20 doubles tell you about that, right? They tell you that there's a little bit more for him to tap into, and maybe it'll be about another season or two before he's hitting double digits or well into double digits. Um, One thing about his season also at Tampa, I was a little surprised when he got promoted. I mean, yeah, he was hitting. I think he was hitting 297 at the time, 24 extra base hits, 6 home runs. But when he got to Tampa, he just clicked. He took it up a notch. At Tampa, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, at Hudson Valley. At Hudson Valley, he's hitting 60 points higher, and his walk rate is up about 5 points. So at Hudson Valley, he's hitting 356, nine extra base hits, 3 home runs, and the walk rate is up about 5 points. Um, the guy's just a remarkable hitter. He's just a remarkable hitter.
He does. He is. He makes so much quality contact. And like you said, the doubles give you hope for more power in the future. I think that you're going to see a player that probably is a 15 to 20 home run guy over
Mm-hmm.
the course of 162 games. Um, I don't know. I think he can be a three war player for you and be really happy with him coming off the bench and playing some positions.
Yeah, like I said, the guy is just it flies under the radar. Not many people talk about him, and the guy has just been remarkable day in and day out. He's hitting, he's getting people across. He's moving players across the bases, across the base paths. He's knocking runs in. Definitely a guy that I want to see what happens when he gets to Somerset.
Now, one pitcher I wanted to talk to you about was Fristo.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of him?
I think I saw this week that he was topping out somewhere around 98 plus. I know early on in the FCL, I think he was one of their best pitchers. From what I remember, he was one of their best pitchers, and then all of a sudden he's just started having command issues, from what I recall. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't looked at his numbers as of late, but I know his last outing or two outings he was pretty good. But I know at the FCL he went through a little bit of a spell there, where I guess he was having some consistency issues with command. But he seems to be working that out. I mean, like I said, his last two outings that I recall seeing at Tampa were pretty good. So there's hope there.
You,
There's hope there that he can, that maybe he becomes a bullpen piece, or if he can stick as a starter, more power to it. But I'm sure the Yankees are very intrigued by the velo on that fastball.
yeah, I think he's a bullpen arm, but going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many other starters we have in front of him and behind him that I think are more complete pitchers right now
Mm-hmm.
that will stick in the rotation. I just think that he's a bullpen piece, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Right. And well, not lastly, but the next guy we wanted to talk a little bit about, and I know it's kind of like beating a dead horse, but Estevan Florial.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Coming off of a remarkable, a phenomenal week. He's up to 28 home runs. That leads the organization in home runs by, I want to say, two, maybe three. 79 RBIs. His walk rate is up at almost 40%, and the K rate is just a tick under 30. We've been saying for a while now, you know what? Just give the guy a shot. Just see what he has. See, the strikeout is going to be what the strikeout is. But if he's making contact like this, why not give him a shot and see what he can do for you?
Well, we found out this morning that he's coming up. So we're
Right.
going to get to see him hopefully get extended playing time for the next 20 games or 19 games. It's
Yes.
going to be a bigger sample size than he's ever had in his career if they play him most days.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find out what you have in him. I mean, now you put him back on the 26-man roster. You still have control of him next year. You find out if he can be a starter or a fourth outfielder. And then you can base your plans, what you need to do this winter, around that. I mean, if he turns out that he can be a legit center fielder, fourth outfielder, left handed, great speed, great defense. I mean, what is there not to like about that as your fourth outfielder?
Yeah, I mean, and not just that, but maybe it's someone who you can use as a placeholder until Jason returns. I mean, I don't know if that's in the plans for the Yankees, but you know what? It'll be an option if he proves that he can hit at this level. It'll be an option that won't cost you $200 million.
Right. I think it's a really good option. I he's
At worst, a fourth outfielder if he
yeah,
plays well.
that's what I think. I think he can come up and hit 240, 250 and show consistent power. I really do. I'm really excited for Florial to get a chance. I think he's earned it the last 2 years. He's had two phenomenal seasons at AAA
Mm-hmm.
alone. And we're going to be able to find out a little more about what his value may be.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
don't
he's
know.
still 25.
I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. When I saw that video, I don't know if you got to see it, but when they told that Jason that he was coming up, one of the first guys to congratulate him and be happy for him was Florial. He was standing right behind him. I think he was on his phone or something. And then when they mentioned that he just got up and he ran to Jason and hugged him, so that just shows you the kind of player that he is. Even though he's being stifled or whatever, he was still happy for the next guy.
Yeah. He's always been a phenomenal teammate. He speaks 4 or 5 languages.
Mm-hmm.
He's just supposed to be a phenomenal human being. And I don't know why you don't want more phenomenal human beings on your club. I
Yeah,
mean,
I have no idea what the hell the front office was thinking. I have no idea what he said. Maybe it was the fact that he wanted a trade or he wanted off this team. I don't know if that's what it was, but whatever the case is, it made absolutely no reason to not at least try to help your ball club out by providing a fourth outfielder like this at a time where you were trying IKF out there.
why? That's the question to me is as soon as you're out of the playoff contention, You need to find out what you have in your system for next year. Is IKF a part of this team next year? I don't think he is.
I mean, I don't think he is. To me, I would prefer that they went with Cabrera as the utility player. Um, because I don't know if Cabrera is the starting left fielder. I don't see him as that. I went into the season thinking that he was going to be your utility guy. So what was the reason for you having IKF on this team?
I trying to prove that they didn't make a huge mistake.
I mean, I know we've been through that, and I just it's frustrating for how long the Yankees basically, I don't want to say lied, but pretended like they were actually in the playoff hunt. Like we
Yeah,
knew this was over a long time ago, but
yes,
they
we
just
did.
said there's still a hope. There's still a hope. There's still hope. But we're looking at it like, no, there isn't.
No,
This is a pipe dream.
yeah, it was over after they lost that series to Colorado, right after the
Pretty
break.
much, yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much. I mean, it was a long shot. It was a long shot after that.
I will never understand why you didn't look to trade IKF, Wandy, Sevy.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about that. There's a lot of moves that they should have made at the break. I mean, at the deadline, we thought they should have moved some of these bullpen arms as well, because you have a bunch of guys coming up behind them. Um, so why not try to restock the minor league systems a little bit more with some more prospects, by moving off these guys that other teams would have wanted.
you know, well, there's one other guy. He's not really a prospect, but he kind of is, and that's Yamamoto. We heard this weekend that Cashman and Daly and Omar Minaya and Hal Steinbrenner
Yeah.
were in attendance for his no hitter.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw a bunch of press stuff. And then we got information this morning saying that they were going to make a bigger offer and be more aggressive for him than they were for Tanaka.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that's a smart move?
I mean, it shores up the front line of the starting rotation. We've had tons of injuries in that rotation. It's been decimated. Regarding the rotation, though, I know I want them to keep a spot in that rotation for Drew Thorpe. I do
Mm-hmm.
think that right now you can plug him into the back end of your rotation and he would be okay. Um, and maybe add a second or open a competition up for the fifth spot. So I know we'll see what they do because we spoke at the beginning of the season. I thought there was a few moves that they should have made. Like I thought Nestor should have been traded off while his value was at an all-time high. But that didn't happen. So we'll see what they do going into next season. But next season, you have Cole. Who knows what they're going to do with King if they want to keep him as a starter? You have
He's
Schmidt,
looked
who's looked
good.
good. He has. Schmidt has also looked good as well. He's a homegrown player. I'm all for that. And then you have Rodon. Paid him a lot of money, so you're stuck with him.
Yeah, you're stuck with him. I think that they have to go get Yamamoto. 25-year-old aces don't grow on trees.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of talk that he may be the best pitcher to ever come out of Japan. And he's won two MVP awards in a row, two of their Cy Youngs in a row.
I
And
think he's
he's
won
the
three
lead.
MVPs.
I think they're saying this is going to be his third MVP
Oh, okay.
year.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, either way,
Lots of hardware.
yeah, lots of hardware. And he only costs money. So,
Mm-hmm.
and that's also a revenue stream that the Yankees haven't had since Tanaka was gone. He'll pay for himself in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that it's hard to pass up on that kind of pitcher when he's available for only money.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been of that school of thought that if it doesn't cost me prospects and all it costs is money, then shit. If it makes sense, let's go
Yeah.
for it. But it would be nice for the Yankees to have a solid frontline rotation, where I don't have to worry about, well, is this guy going to be hurt this week? Can he go 5 innings, at least 5 innings? So, I mean, in that regards, absolutely. But like I
And
said,
then
my main concern is I don't want them to block off every single guy that they have coming up. This is the best crop of pitching prospects the Yankees have had since forever for me. Since forever
yeah,
for me, I have never seen them have a crop of pitchers this good, especially front line, not front line, but starting pitchers
top of the rotation.
and also relief pitchers. I've never seen the Yankees have this good amount of pitching prospects before. So I would like for them to be able to reward some of those guys that they've put in the work. They've shown that they can handle the level that they're at, and they continue to move up, and they continue to progress, and they continue to get better and better. And like I said, Drew Thorpe is one of those guys that I think right now you could just plug him into the back of your rotation, and he would probably be okay.
I honestly would like to see the rotation of Cole, Yamamoto, Rodon, King, Thorpe next year to start the year.
That works for me. That
Yeah,
absolutely works for me. Like I definitely want to see Thorpe coming out, making this team out of spring training.
I think he deserves a shot.
Yeah,
I and
I don't think there's anything he's going to learn at AAA that he can't already learn at the major league level. He to us, to both of us, he's almost a complete pitcher already as it is. Why not just have him learn on the job?
yeah, and then you have Chase and Fitz behind him, who are pretty close to being. I mean, they need a little bit more time, but they should be ready at some point next year.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you injury protection and stuff like that. I think they
Mm-hmm.
can have a really good rotation again next year and a really, really good bullpen.
Mm-hmm. And that brings us to the last guy when we were talking about it before, which is Will Warren. I mean, over his last 7 starts, he's gotten at least 5 innings, hasn't allowed more than 3 runs. And I think he's in his last 7 starts, he's 2-0 to a 2.48 ERA, 40 innings, 43 strikeouts, 193 average against, almost 91 left on base, 91% left on base. He's looked really, really good over the last 7 games. And this is a guy that I would want to see them call up. I know that right now they called up two of those two bullpen arms that they just sent them back down. Hopefully, we can see between Will Warren, Andrew Gomez, or Clayton Beater, two of those three get called up and get a couple of innings of work at the big league level.
Yeah, even if you don't see him as being long-term pieces for this club, get them an audition.
Yes.
Let them see if they can audition for another team, even
Mm-hmm.
because,
They
or
can
if
help you
they're
in other
going to,
ways.
yeah, I think that Will Warren could either be a starter or a really good reliever. He's got the stuff to do either. Um, but as a starter, that last start he had in AAA was probably the best I have ever seen him look.
Yes, I agree. I mean, after I watched, I immediately texted you. I was like, "Yo, you got to watch this. You got to
Yeah.
watch this game for Warren."
And if you guys haven't seen that video, check that out because he just absolutely looked flat dominant. The
Mm-hmm.
slider, the sweeper, the changeup, the four seam, the sinker, everything looked crisp, sharp, and almost unhittable.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know. I'd really like to see him the rest of this year.
Mm-hmm. Before we head out, I just
Sorry.
want to thank all you guys for always watching this stuff, the support you give us, the props, the thanking us, always appreciate it very much more than you guys know. It's very appreciative. So thank you for all the support.
Yes, guys. Thank you so much for watching us. And we'll see you later.
All right, guys.
Later.
Later, guys.